And Natasha, you were with them in 2019 as well,
I was
because
26
everybody's
at
having
that point.
birthdays.
I was a
This
little
was
older.
2020,
It was around my
2021.
birthday. 2021? Yeah.
Yeah,
It kind
2021.
of goes real fast
Now,
after that. So
well, let me back up. I don't want to confuse. The 2019 situation was when we didn't get involved with them. It was just one of those situations. Oh, it's y'all, and we like, no, we don't fool with y'all, and we kind of walked away. And then in 2021, which is in December of 2021, that was when we purchased again, and that's where Natasha comes in with a lot of her persuasiveness about, hey, let's just try it again. This is a different place. All of that, that's where she comes in.
Fathers are not, it's not an equal match between a
No,
father and a daughter like this. It's
no,
like, oh,
no, it's
please.
not. I try to tell people. I try to tell people that no,
but
it's not.
it's free tickets.
Well, I know you're the oldest of the family, Natasha. I'm the youngest and the only baby, and I got hired as a stockbroker. And I learned later that they felt that the youngest and the only girl in the family and the baby would always be successful as a stockbroker because we're so conniving and know how to get our own way. I think I don't know about your younger sister. We can get her opinion on that. Okay, so now we're 2021. What resort were you at this time?
We were at Westgate Lakes in Spawn, Orlando.
Okay, and we have a live chat. Someone just asked if anyone had been arrested. And I love the fact that this is live and people are chatting. And the reason that we've had exit companies have been arrested. I know one that went to jail, but he had also beat his girlfriend into a coma. But one of the reasons that people are not arrested is it's civil, not criminal. And I'm a former manager of Senior versus Crime, which is a special project of the Florida Attorney General's office. And what I was told is if I wanted to get new windows and somebody came in and measured a window, then it's civil because they did some work. But if they just took my deposit and I never saw them again, it's criminal. So the fact that you signed an agreement means it's civil. And that's a whole different show about filing a lawsuit versus arbitration. But thank you for that question. And I feel like kind of a baseball announcer where I have to go to the side. And now we're back to 2021. Let's keep going.
So yeah, it was Westgate Lakes in Spawn, Orlando, where we visited that time.
Okay, and you spearheaded this to attend another presentation despite what happened to you in 2009?
Yeah, I remembered it, but I was younger and I was like, hey, I'm older now and I want to get into traveling more, to get family together, be able to enjoy. And that was like it was like our first time in Orlando, wasn't it?
When we went on that was our third time back in Orlando.
Yeah, it was our third time. But at that point, we had just started traveling that year to Orlando. And it's like, well, there's so much to do here. Why not, why not have somewhere that we can just come back and go to every single time, make it more of a regular thing for us.
So you ended up in another timeshare presentation. How did that go?
Well, it went a little, I would say for the most part, it went okay. But when we first entered, when we signed in and everything, checked in to kind of get ready for the presentation or tour, we had someone come out, and he basically, I can't remember exactly his name, but I know he came out. He was a manager from one of the others that he was just visiting there for that particular time, and he explained to us he was wanting to come out and ask questions because they found our old account. So that kind of started a whole conversation because clearly it appears as though there was an account that was neglected. It's like, well, hey, you're in here, then we're not going to be able to kind of go through a presentation and the tour and everything because you know, this doesn't look the greatest, you know. But after kind of going through and being able to go through more questions in that degree, they were able to kind of get better understanding of it, and we were able to proceed from there because of such a unique situation it was. And that's where I'll allow Dad to kind of explain the rest from there, because I want to make sure we get it right.
Well, and before we go that, we have another question came in from Jimmy Ropa that is asking if you filed with the Tennessee Attorney General, which is a good thing to do. The Tennessee Attorney General will attempt to mediate. The Florida Attorney General, it was explained to me, they do not mediate. They just pass a complaint on, and then the resort will come back. They're sort of just like a middleman. But and you know, you had a good outcome without the Tennessee Attorney General. But in this presentation, as I understand it, they recalled that you had this bad experience in 2009. And did they have anything else to say about 2009? Were there other people that had been affected by what they did to you?
Right. So when we got into the whole, like she was saying, it was an odd situation starting out, because when we were sitting back there talking to the sales manager that we initially got, when we were sitting back and talking, he was like, man, we was probably thinking he was joking. We was like, man, we're gonna call the police on y'all, but get y'all thrown out of here because y'all didn't pay us and all these. But no, man, he said, but you know, seriously speaking, they had never had anybody come there from Tennessee, and he said that it was a whole big, like it was supposed to be some big thing that happened up there, and there was a lot of stuff that went on, and we were one of the families that got caught up in it. And so
that was before the fires that happened, right?
Right, the fires happened after they did all of the stuff they did
After
with us.
sometime after 2009, and between the time we had went. So
right, so. And it was like, you know, we you know, people were coming out looking at us like we was like aliens or something. Like it was weird. Like when he was like, man, don't mind. He said, people, we've never met anybody that went through that. And so, like, you know, we was talking about, you know, went through the whole ordeal about what we wanted and, you know, different stuff. You know how they do the chat. Going through the presentation. We was like, you know, I didn't want to like I said, I didn't want to be involved with it at all. Just being honest, regardless of the situation. Look, y'all understand, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't. And so, like, some of the stuff he had put on the table about, you know, traveling around the world and all that kind of stuff, it had Natasha intrigued, and also had my wife intrigued. Yeah, and all the bells and whistles had them intrigued. So like I got being pushed into the point of like, I don't want to do this, but if y'all saying y'all want to do it, and if that's a situation we can make the monthly payments on it or whatever we're gonna do with it, then I'm not gonna. But I don't want to hear anything about nothing if this doesn't go like it's supposed to go. Like I was the one that was saying no. Everybody was like, let's see. And so like while we're having this, conversation, the guy that went upstairs and talked, he came back down and said, listen, so I'm not trying to sell you on anything or push you over, nothing like that. He said, but I'm just, you know, I just talked to the manager upstairs, and he, you know, he understands the situation. He's telling me to tell y'all, he's telling me to do whatever I gotta do to make y'all happy. So whatever you guys, just put it on the table. So at this point in time, we had a little bit of knowledge, you know, from our previous dealings. We had a little bit of knowledge
to pay more attention this time.
Right.
Well, and what you could not do, but you could do in Tennessee, and you can do in Nevada or Arizona or Virginia, but not in Florida, is record without the other person knowing.
Right.
So you have one-party states and two-party states. Grant just asked that question. And yes, we have some remarkable recordings, including from a sales agent who's a disbarred attorney. It was quite some whoppers. So you then took the plunge, it sounds like, thanks to the female coalition against you, and you bought what?
When we first started back out with Westgate, we got what was called a 2-bedroom deluxe at Westgate Blue Tree. And where we were touring at was Westgate Lakes. And me, like, I'm reading paperwork because I got paperwork in my hands. I'm walking down the hall with these people, and I'm reading paperwork, and I see the name Blue Tree up there. Like, hey, what is this? And he was like, that's Blue Tree. And I was like, but we're at the lakes. So what is that? What I need to see that. I don't want to. He was like, no, the unit is the same. I don't want to hear that. We need
I want to
all of
see
this to
what
match.
I want
We
to
need every.
see.
Yeah, I want to see what we're going to be purchasing. And so
Of course.
the guy was like, look, he was kind of sort of shushing. I was like, he was like sort of the trust me deal. I was like, I don't, I don't trust
Been
nobody.
there,
Like,
done that.
right. And so, but kind of gave I guess you would call it mulligan, like, okay, I'm gonna sort of cool it because I understand also that we have a certain amount of time to cancel this if it's not what we want. And at this point, I'm saying, like, we're going to go look at this, and if it's not what we want, I'm coming right back down here and telling them tear this stuff up. And so, because this was what it was the second to the last day that we was getting ready to go home, and I was like, no, we got to go see this before we leave. But he told me, like, when we come up the elevator going up to the signing to do the what is it, the court papers or whatever, the stuff that you're supposed to send everything to
The
the lady
final
that stamps at the
signatures
notary
on
lady.
notary and
County
everything.
clerk. Yeah, county
Right.
clerk.
Right. We was going to see her. And when we got off the elevator, he was like, look, man, he asked, he said, how many times y'all say y'all been down here? I was like, this is our third time down here. And then I said, we're going to be coming back next week. Like, we're going to go back. We're going to turn around and come back because my brother, he's a race car driver, and he was going to be down there with some of the races and whatnot. So we was coming back with him. He was like, man, y'all have been down here all them many times. He said, man, don't come back down here. Take this thing and travel the world. He said, I'm going to show you how to do it. So I sort of just, sort of leaned into that and just went on to finish the whole paperwork situation. We went and looked at Blue Tree, and when we looked at Blue Tree, it was like, this ain't it. Like, we don't want this. And I was looking at the page. I was like, she'll tell you, like, that ride home, that 10-hour ride was rough because I was like, I don't like this. Like, we drove to Orlando from where we live. So we had to drive back the whole time. I got rocked to my jaw. Like, it ain't gonna be what we think it is. I'm telling y'all, and it's gonna. I don't want to hear it. That was my whole.
That was
That
part
was
of
my
it for
whole
me too.
attitude.
Because I said, like, well, let's down the street, so to speak. So let's go see it. And,
Yeah.
the insides were really great. I think, when you're traveling, being in Alabama, you're used to trees, you're used to all these different sorts of things. There's a certain thing you're looking for. But when you go on vacation, you want the glitz, you want the glam, you want the architecture and the landscape. And so, going there, the insides were great, but the outsides weren't necessarily giving that feeling, so to speak.
It wasn't giving
So
resort feeling.
yeah, it wasn't giving
Compared to
yeah,
Westgate Lakes, it wasn't.
right.
You didn't
It
like it as
wasn't
much.
giving the vacation vibes. So
Right.
that's kind of where it was. But it's like it's a great establishment. The rooms, the units are great. It's just it wasn't giving the full experience of what we would have wanted in totality.
Well, and I believe that Blue Tree was an independent resort that Westgate later acquired. So
Right.
yeah. So did you end up buying at Blue Tree or Westgate Lakes?
It was
We bought
the
it. We
it
bought
was a
it. We
Blue
bought it
Tree.
Blue Tree. We
But
bought it Blue Tree.
what happened was we ended up going home. We went through all our paperwork and everything, and then we remembered that he was like, well, you could take it, you could travel the world. You don't have to come back here. And I was like, well, we're gonna travel the world, and let's do that. Let's see what that has to offer, see what's to it. And so that's where we basically banked our week. And that's how we ended up going to Cancun in July of that same year. But with that being said, we had when we left there, they had given us a bonus week, but they also had like a homeowners orientation ordeal to where we could book a time to come back to Orlando to be able to go through our homeowners orientation. And that's ultimately, if I'm not getting too far ahead, where we ended up with the lakes. So we didn't end up having Blue Tree that long. We had it long enough to bank our week for Cancun, but that's where we then ended up upgrading, and we ended up with the lakes.
Oh, okay. And but that was not a Westgate property in Cancun. That was another developer. So you
Right.
exchanged. Did you exchange through Westgate or RCI or Interval International?
It was an interval.
Interval International. Okay. So you stayed in Cancun, and then so you said you didn't own Blue Tree that long. You bought again?
We
to upgrade.
upgraded at the homeowners orientation. We didn't. We just figured that the homeowners orientation was going to be like just kind of further going over questions, getting understanding of the ownership. But clearly, it was a little more than that, and
It
that's
was the
where.
new owner orientation.
Yeah, new owners orientation. You got it right. That's what
It's
I
really
mean.
a new owners sell them some more stuff.
That's basically what it
Basically,
was. We had this.
basically,
We had a whole bunch of questions that we were gonna ask,
right.
but we got down there, and none of that went the way we thought it was gonna go. So it was like, but at the same time, we had done did all of the research we needed to do. We were just gonna ask the stuff for clarification, and we basically didn't get to. It was like, hey, do y'all realize that whoever set y'all, I'm pretty sure people that got told the same thing, but whoever set y'all up on a certain type of pricing that everybody don't get, or whatever the case may be. And they gave us, some options and whatnot. And I was like, listen, if we gonna upgrade, because at this point in time, let's jump back to what my breaking point is the month of July. We got involved with the Blue Tree under the and it was written that we had what they call the float week and a floating week, floating ownership. And what that meant was we were able to come back to and that was what we was thinking we had in Gatlinburg, was a floating type of ownership. And so when we did our booking with to do the short stay exchange, or banking, we found out about what our week was. We had week 30, something like that. And I was like, okay, so
26.
no, that was with we got week 26 now. But when we first got back into like with Blue Tree, we had week 34 or 30 or something like that.
On a floating.
But we didn't, but it was a float week. So he was like, we have your number on paperwork, but that doesn't really apply to when you actually travel. You float. That means you can go anytime.
The reason they do that is so the developer doesn't book sell more than 52 weeks a year. So that doesn't guarantee you getting, that's the week you're assigned to, doesn't necessarily mean you can stay when you want to at that. And now Kim can change the banner from victim of first time share to informed timeshare consumer.
Yeah.
Because you're happy with what you upgraded.
Yes, ma'am. We really happy. After we did that first, like Natasha was saying, we to keep with the order of how it happened, we purchased in 2021, December 2021. Then in February, we went through January. We
were doing all our research then.
A lot of research. Like we were
a lot of
reading,
research.
We was doing a lot of research. And then, hey, look, I'm gonna tell y'all, I was calling, starting arguments with Westgate. They were right with this stuff. I mean, I was thinking, like, this ain't right. I called a guy that did the sales manager. I called him, was like, this ain't what you sold us. You told us it was off by $50. He gave us the wrong number on something. It was off by $50. And I cut up about that $50. Like, I didn't let nothing go. Like, I cut up. But after going through all of that, they dealt with us like I would have wanted them to deal with us. You know what I mean? They didn't go off the rails.
They didn't ghost us.
Right.
They were right there with us the entire time.
So,
I have a question. Terry has a question. Would you mind sharing what the second and third upgrade, how much more money you had to put into it to get, and the second upgrade, that was for a 3-bedroom, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It was, so how much more was the upgrade, and was it worth it? To a lot of people don't like me saying this. A bottle of water is worth more to a man in the desert than it is somebody sitting next to their refrigerator. So, like, to me, what is worth to me may not be worth it to somebody else. But to get into that, like, I think when we upgraded to the 3-bedroom, it was, Natasha, correct me, I want to say it was like $30K is what it was.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
And And then when we did the when we went, because I want to make sure we do this right, because I want you to understand how the
The
whole upgrading thing
timeline,
happened.
because it can get a little stacked sometimes.
Right. So like when we purchased in 2021, it was like, for me, nothing is gonna go right. Nothing is gonna go right. We did all of what we did in January, doing the research and giving them all kind of crap about what we got and what was wrong and all of that. And then we understood how to do we learned how to do the exchange. We unraveled all of the interval stuff. We unraveled all of the Westgate Cruise and Travel stuff. We unraveled everything to understand what it actually was and what each wing or what each company did. And that was it was February when we actually banked our week.
Right.
And we was like, okay, we're not going back to Westgate. We're not going down there. We're going to bank it. So we banked it with Interval for the short stay exchange. And that's where you give them your 1 week and they give you back 2 7-day, 6-night stays. And so we took our first 7-day, 6-night stay and booked it for Cancun. And again, Cancun, that's another country. We didn't have passports.
Yeah.
So now we got to go and get passports. Also, if we're not driving, we got to fly. So those are plane
That was
tickets
a
we got to buy.
first
And so
for
in
a
my
lot of
mind,
us.
I'm thinking like we putting a whole lot of money behind trusting that this is going to work. So in the middle of doing all of that, we come up on May, which is when we do the new owner orientation. And when we do the new owner orientation, that's when we do our first upgrade. We upgrade from Blue Tree to Westgate Lakes.
That's the 3-bedroom.
To the 3-bedroom. Okay, so now we're sitting with that 3-bedroom. And we're like, okay, we're not doing anything else. We have enough. It was enough for us and my mom. That's what I was thinking. Like, it's us and my mom. We have enough for us. And July comes around and we go to Cancun. And we get to Cancun, that's a whole different story. But the experience that we had there, I remember walking into the room and they had all this stuff decked out for the birthdays and all that. I was like, it blew me away. And I remember everybody's going off about the balloons and stuff, but I looked to my right and all I can see is blue. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like,
The ocean.
We're looking at the ocean. And I'm saying to myself, like, hold up. It
That's
works the way they
room.
said, right. I'm like, it works the way they said it was supposed to work. And so I looked at my wife and I said, this is about to be a problem. I said, we're not going to never be at home because all we're going to want to do now is travel. And then I remember that night I was scared to go to sleep because I thought somebody was going to knock on the door and say, hey, y'all got the wrong room. All this, I was nervous. I did not want to, I didn't let up to like maybe the second or third day. And that's when I sort of like, and I remember telling my wife, I was like, we get to do this again next year and we ain't got to use our week. We still have our week from this and what we're going to have that we're going to use from our upgrade. And like the vacations at that point started to stack up. And so on our way home, we was thinking about it, was like, you know what? We want our whole family, like my brothers, I have 4 brothers, but 3 brothers. We want to have enough for them to be able to travel. And so when we got home, we had planned a getaway for my mom's birthday in September.
In July? Oh, September.
No, her birthday is in September.
Yeah.
And so like we had a getaway plan for her. So we went took her to Branson, Missouri. And throughout that whole process, the deeding department called us because they had all the stuff registered with the county and all of that. And they was getting ready to send out our deed. And the lady was like, we have an upgrade for y'all. If y'all want to, you can upgrade to a 4-bedroom spiral. And so like, I was like, okay, well, we're going to look at the numbers or whatever. Now we're very personable people. So what we ended up doing, we had the lady send over.
They were from corporate, by the way.
Right, from corporate. They sent over all of the information that they was talking about in terms of how much it was going to cost and what we were going to get. And we got in contact with the person that we actually dealt with at the lakes and had them compare prices of what corporate was giving us versus what we was trying to make sure the numbers were going to be what they needed to be. And the guy came back with something that kind of blew our mind. He was like, hey, y'all can do that if you want to. He said, but we can give y'all, and this was going to give us our week 26. We can give you 2 3-bedrooms for I want to say it was I want to say it was like $3,000 more than what the 4-bedroom spiral would have been at the lakes. And it was like he was like, you can do that one, or you can get this 2-3 bedroom, these 2-3 bedrooms, and you're gonna pay three. We're gonna pay $3,000 more total price, but well, not total value price, and you're gonna have, I think what we did was a 12% finance on the 3-bedroom. They dropped our interest rate down to 10%, with 9.9% on getting the 2-3 bedrooms. And that's how we ended up with the 2-3 bedroom lockouts that we have now.
Now, well, I want to make sure we devote enough time to the Facebook group that you launched. And Kim, if you can put the alternative Facebook group up, the Westgate Timeshare Hostages. Let's start with just a couple minutes of explaining how that came to be. So it's wonderful that your family was able to make the best of it. Not everyone can do that. So, if we had someone in the end of 2021, she was embarrassed because she was a virtual assistant for a realtor. So she came up with a Facebook name of Ben Dover. Ben had 2 N's. And she, very sophisticated person, and she had an every other year, I think, 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom. And they said, if you buy an every other year, another every other year, you can rent that out and it will cover your maintenance fees. So Ben is a female, and she designed this from the Eagles, where you can check out, but you can never leave. And she and Carl and another owner held up signs outside of Westgate for a couple of days. The day of their annual meeting, the Orlando Sentinel showed up, so it went viral across the country, and she was able to resolve her dispute. Carl was not able to resolve his dispute, or he wasn't satisfied with what they were offering. So he's planning on holding another protest in Boston. Ben has 2 N's, Benndovr. It is July 16th to August, I don't know the end point, 15th or 25th. The Queen of Versailles, the Netflix documentary, is going into a musical. But what a better timeshare world this would be. You were able to get straight answers instead of, you signed a contract. There's a sentence in there that said you did not base your purchase on oral representations, which one attorney called a license to lie clause. Here comes the Broadway show that's coming up, The Queen of Versailles. If Westgate and other developers would just communicate with families with transparency and honesty, that they treated your family. So I am thrilled to have 2 choices, that if someone says they lied to me and they said I could make money by renting this out and they can't do it, now you can tell people there's another Facebook group that is dedicated to support people who need support. In February of 2017, I suggested Diamond Resorts Advocacy, which the name has been changed to Hilton Diamond Blue Green Advocacy, and it is for people who have been harmed. And there's another group with 14,000. We have over 9,000. There's another group with 14 of people that are happy with their points. So this is now, I looked up today, Cornelius, there are 896 members. When did you launch your Facebook group?
I launched it in, I want to say, September of 2023. But we wasn't really pushing it like that because we was trying to get all our bearings in a so I didn't really put it out there like that. But after we got got our feet under us or whatnot, when we started pushing it a little bit more, started
And we're
being a little
still
more
working on some
interactive.
things.
Right, and we're still working on some things. Last year, like you're talking about improving the communication, all of that, my thought process and what I'm working on, all of the issues that you guys talk about, I've looked at some of the podcasts that y'all, all the issues that y'all have very valid issues. These are the issues that we feel like can be avoided, but it has to be done from the inside out. And so that's my goal, is to try to do it from an owner side. Like, and I say this with all due respect to every timeshare company, but for me, for that week, I am an owner, and I'm going to act like I'm an owner. If I have to raise hell, if I can say that, if I have to raise hell while I'm on property to get things done, that's what I'm going to do, because this is my property for this time period. That's the part that don't nobody want to necessarily think about. So I can be the owner from hell, or I can be the best thing that ever stepped foot on your property. It just depends on how we are treated, and that is the same thing. Like, we're travel partners. I tell people all the time, well, I told them, I don't want to tell people to come down here to tour this facility or tour this resort. Y'all don't get them and hold them in here for 9-10 hours lying to them. I said, because they're gonna come back and talk to me about that. I said, my name is on the line. I said, I don't want that. I said, then I can't go to the grocery store or go down to the Piggly Wiggly around the corner because y'all mistreated one of my neighbors that I sent down there. I said, I don't play like that. And so I be upfront with them, straight up and down. I don't like to go in and out with that. I just tell them straight, this is how this needs to happen. We've sent emails and asked, like, we've requested, like, hey, let's do this to try to help owners be a little bit more informed. We have all these travel partners, these people that are trying to get people to come and tour. Allow us to have a weekend. We'll pay for it. We just want a weekend where we can all get together and share stories about what we've heard when we've tried to promote, try to promote these offers. I was listening to
try to work through the issues and
right, and try to work through the issues. Some of that stuff got shut down. Some of the stuff I put in there, I'd like to go back and read the terms and conditions. I do that frequently. After we sit that in, I ain't gonna say a lot. Some of the things in the terms and conditions started to change. But again, our approach is to try to do it from the inside and do it from the inside out to try to make the change what it needs to be. We don't have a complaint department.
I want to ask one curious question. Originally, you were sold something that you really didn't buy at all. Like, you said this, and this. They did a contract, because no matter what, it's going to be their terms, not yours. And they gave you a contract that you thought, and they knew you thought it said this, and this, and you took it. Now, then you were willing 2 times to pay an upgrade to get what you really wanted. Would you have originally paid that price to have gotten what you really wanted in the very beginning, the first time they sold you something?
In 2009.
Would you have been willing to pay that bigger price that you ended up paying anyway to have gotten everything that you wanted?
Are you talking about
well,
back in 2009 or the first time?
2009.
Would we have paid the price we're paying now for what we have now at the very beginning
to get everything that you wanted?
To get everything that we wanted right now. Knowing what we know now, and this has nothing to do with Westgate, just know it's hard to get people to travel. We about going knocking on people's doors and say, hey, come go with us. Don't pay for nothing, just go. You know what I mean? So we are lucky this time. We're taking 2 families with us. They're going with us. But the reason why I said no is because what we had at the beginning gave us a great value. So, I mean, I think we upgraded into something that we're finding useful.
It works for your family.
Right.
Right. We have way more than what we need for my immediate family.
Right.
Me, my wife, and our 2 girls. We have way more than enough. We have 6 bedrooms. We only needed that 2-bedroom thing, that the 2-bedroom unit that we had at the beginning. But we wanted more people to get the experience of what Westgate has to offer, but at the same time, not necessarily have to deal with the presentation side of it.
portion of it. Hey,
Right.
come try it
So,
out first, and then if you wanna, from that point, you can do that.
Have you thought about selling the part you don't need anymore?
no. Well,
There's
no,
very little resale for Westgate
We know
because they
that,
put,
right?
yeah.
right. We was in Vegas last year, and they were trying to get us to upgrade to do the sale to rent, and I was no. You know, it's a wonderful place. We're going back again this year. We're going to Vegas again, but we're not upgrading. We have a fixed week 26, which covers the 4th of July. In the month of July, we have exactly what we need. Okay, so there's no need in us moving anything. We have exactly what we need. I don't know if this is along the side. We could do a series on it, but we've been to several different Westgate properties, and these people laugh at us and like, there's nothing we could give y'all that y'all gonna move from what y'all have. So they have to go through the motions. Because I'll be sitting up there laughing at them when we're checking in. Do y'all want to do the tour? I say no. They were like, come on, we'll give you $100. I'm like, no, we don't want to do it. I'll just sit in on it. And I laugh at them. I say, okay. And then when we get back there, on the day that we get back there, the people that's supposed to be doing the sales presentation, they look at what we have and they ask us, why are we in there?
Well,
And they're like, hey,
they're able to do
And I
it.
love your idea. Maybe get another series going on to just talk about some of these things, but also maybe not a complete series because it's a lot of work. But you don't seem to mind. But I want to thank you two for this story, because in a way we had that horror, oh my God, and then you made it the right outcome and you shared with us how. And that's something that we really need to do is encourage people to not stand down, right? To go and be your own advocate. And this is how. Don't stand down. And I want to thank you two from the bottom of my heart. I know Irene, she's pulled all this together. Thank you, Irene. Unfortunately,
what one of our major goals has to be to get this information to people, the general public, before they ever go on their first timeshare presentation.
Right, exactly. Education and information is the way.
Informed timeshare consumer. Maybe you guys can do that to do a show on that just in itself. But I want to thank you all for this. We'll see you guys next Monday. Don't forget, you can watch this show every day on Amazon and Roku at 9:30 a.m. and 9 p.m. And we look forward to seeing you next week, everyone. And have a great.
I might be talking to 2 future TARDA board members right now.
All right. Well, and I might get on the phone with you. Take care.